following program is classified G. It's suitable for all ages. We would like to remind our viewers that the views expressed in this program by our participating guests are solely viewpoints of them who take part and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. This is an opinion-based program.
On an all-new Get Real, animal welfare and our zoos. Controversy after controversy, Sri Lanka Zoological Gardens have surfaced to the limelight in recent times with accusations of mistreatment of animals to using animals to gain a quick buck. Sri Lanka zoos and its sanctuaries have been in existence in the island since 1936. Way before independence by the lords and saviors of the liberal clowns, the Brits. So what is the hullabaloo is all about? And why is Cher so concerned about it? Is it another scheme by NGOs to get their way, or are the Chaos Brigade hard at work to discredit the image of Sri Lanka? Or are they just having a personal vendetta against its Director General? To answer and provide her side of the story tonight, I'm glad to welcome the Director General of the Department of National Zoological Gardens, Shermila Rajapakse. Real views, real opinions, and for an honest conversation, this is Get Real. And it all starts right now.
From Studio 24, with opinions that matter, it's time to get real with Mahieash Johnney.
And a very good evening to all. Thank you very much for joining me on Get Real, the final day of the first month of 2022. Yep, time flies and here we are, 1 month down in the new year. Not exactly a new year, it's 2022. Tonight our focus is on our zoological gardens. In recent days, its Director General, Shermila Rajapakse, came under fire by the NGO Brigade. Yeah, the same type who discredits and shames everyone in their way. Yep, from those jokers. Tonight she'll be here to answer all the questions that have been leveled at her, all the accusations that have been leveled at her at the zoological gardens and also at her. So I will get her side of the story, something that has been missing since this whole debacle started. You know, mainly because media in Sri Lanka is almost 90% liberal. Well, in my opening statement tonight, I'm going to tell you a story. Now, the story involves elephants, a Shady NGO, a Director General, and of course, yes, Cher, the world-renowned singer, who's all about women empowerment and encouraging the meek to be strong. Oh, also, she's an elephant whisperer. She can tell you from thousands and thousands of miles away by just simply looking at a video, a picture, actually sometimes a smoke signal, to say, that elephant is in distress. Superpower. Don't get me wrong, I love Cher and her music has helped me a lot in my personal life because her message has always been powerful. But that's the singer Cher, and that same person recently started to tarnish the image of my country. So I'm sorry, I have to keep my personal feelings aside and get into the mix to iron things out. So for argument's sake, I have nothing against Cher or her talent, but everything against her ignorance. So yeah, let's say I have a beef with Cher, the elephant whisperer. All right, for our story to begin, we have to go way back to early 2019, where a new NGO comes into play standing up for the rights of animals. This organization is called Rally for Animal Rights and Environments, or in short, RARE Sri Lanka. Remember, this was at the time of the Yahapalne was in power, so it's vital to the story. So their initial cause was very definite, standing against all animal cruelty in Sri Lanka. Absolutely a noble cause. In the beginning, they've started to expose welfare scams using animals and all that. They didn't have any political affiliations at that time because they welcomed any action against any person, any politician who was doing wrong to the environment and animals. However, that changed when they publicly supported Sajith Premadasa for president and denounced Gotabaya Rajapakse's candidacy. Since then, it's all about politics for this organization. More so supporting the opposition views, attacking and accusing the current government, and supporting the vendetta against the country. They have one goal: to showcase Sri Lanka as a destination that's abusing animals. Despite them saying it's all about all animals, you do not see them talking about the culling of chickens, fish and cows for daily consumption, or being bothered about millions of other animals that need real help. They chose the ones that are fashionable to get the biggest number of hits: dogs and elephants. So their vendetta goes against each person, each politician. They pick and choose what's good for them and accuse people without any data that can be proven in a court of law. For example, here's a picture of our city's mayors being labeled as a dog killer. What's the evidence? Just hearsay. Or actually what they say. Don't get me wrong, this organization has a good concept and it has the potential to do a lot of good work. But still, the methodology it has adopted is the issue. If you are going to shame a nation and accuse people with no evidence and then hope everything will be okay for you, now that's a misconception. Now, while this organization continues to accuse Sri Lanka of exploiting the elephants and more so profiting off from elephants, while the Hivala Zoo and the Pinnable orphanage, and mind you, Pinnable is an orphanage, not a zoo. It's there to help the elephants. And if by any chance, if you do a little bit of research, we've been helping elephants since the 70s. A lot of elephants that were part of the conflict, during the conflict time, they're there. Now, Rare Sri Lanka on January 7th puts out a tweet piggybacking on a live feed by the director of the Zoological Gardens, Shermila Rajapakse, where she showed the first time the newly born elephant twins that they were going to the river with their mother to enjoy the water. Take a look.
අපි බලමු චුට්ට දෙන්න සුරංගිත් එක්ක යයිද සුරංගි බය වෙයිද කියලා. අම්මා හරිම ආදරෙන් බබාලා දෙන්නව බලාගන්නේ බබාලාට අනතුරක් තියෙනවා නම් එයා යන්නේ නැහැ. ඔන්න සුරංගි බැස්ස වතුරට. සුරංගි නෙමේ කුමාරි වතුරට බැස්සේ. ලෝකේ පළවෙනිම වතාවට වෙන සිදුවීමක් ඔබ දකින්නේ. ඔන්න බැස්සා. අපේ පින්නවල නියුණු දෙන්න වතුරට බැස්ස පළවෙනිම වතාවට. ඔන්න දුවන් එනවා බය වෙලා. චුට්ටක් එක්සයිට් වෙලා. ඔන්න ආයිත් යනවා.
But then again, here's another video that organizations like Rare Sri Lanka, individuals like Cher, and the Clown Clan's NGO Brigade didn't want you to see. This video was also shot at the same time, same location, a few minutes later. And now understand this. The Clown Clan's NGO Brigade, what they do best is to take one single frame or a small video and bullshit their way accordingly. Take a look at this video.
So we took the mother Surangi and Kumari only to the river, and we were not sure whether the mother would be mother is ready to take them to the river, but they just ran on to the river. You can see that on my first video. So this is a historic day, and you can see our elephants, they are chain free, and none of the mahouts use elephant hook. We use the hooks only in case of an emergency, only for the protection of our mahouts.
In the first one, you heard commentary in Sinhalese. And in this one, clearly you can see and hear in English. Shermila Rajapakse says that this is the first time these elephant calves have been into the water. Obviously, they are scared. What Shermila says collaborates with what we see. The two little elephants are scared to go into the water, maybe because they don't know what this river is. This is a new experience. They don't know what's going on. So their body language and everything collaborates with a first-time experience. I mean, get a guy from Candy to go to the beach, you will see the exact same response. But in the second video, you see the elephant calves having a jolly good time. Now that, Rare Sri Lanka did not want you to see. That they did not promote. Rare Sri Lanka completely flipping the script. They did that, and again, just like every other time with their fake statistics and bullshit argument, they say we are forcing the elephants to do this and that. And then Cher starts to sing without knowing heads or tails, without knowing cows from bulls. She goes on her usual unvetted, completely biased, completely bull accusations without the facts. Miss Cher, sitting in her Hollywood home with so much power, servants to help her every need, eating $1,000 meals a day, probably even more, having all the privilege in the world, having all the comfort and success of the world, ignorant as Rare Sri Lanka itself, starts judging on a country that's reeling with economic problems, going through hell to get out of this crisis, hindering an industry with hundreds and thousands of people who are using it as their livelihood, whose income is not even $2 or $3 a day, not understanding the plight of all these people in this country, accusing with her stupidest, idiotic way possible. Miss Cher, without being a literal liberal ducknut, why don't you come to Sri Lanka and get your facts right? Go to Pinnable, go to the Devala Zoo, go to Ridhigama and check it by yourself as what's going on. Meet the people who are working tirelessly in these institutions. Meet Shermila Rajapakse and see whether she's a bureaucrat. No, they are not like the same people from Rare Sri Lanka whose fakery is profiting from these animals. There are people who come from a long line of generations and generations who have been working with these animals. These people have learned from their mistakes. These good people work hard to keep these places running to the best of their abilities. They have a special bond with these animals. Of course, there could be rotten eggs. But painting everyone with the same brush, how unfair is that? Also to Rare Sri Lanka, you say that Sri Lanka is profiting off from selling and parading elephants and other animals. So what the heck is this? Yes, the thing you are with, which is called elephant tea. Yes, the one that looks like an elephant. And for what exactly are you collecting money for? Where is this money going? To whose bank account? And why is it a personal bank account if this is an NGO? Doesn't it look like another animal welfare scam? And why is this NGO not registered in Sri Lanka as an NGO? When we inquired from the National Secretariat for NGOs, they confirmed to us stating that this NGO is not registered in Sri Lanka, meaning all funds collected under the guise of an NGO is fraudulent. Also, what kind of activities have you done to positively help these animals? Have you managed to do anything besides editing videos, giving fake, out-of-context taglines and intros, or editing out pictures and accusing people without facts? And what baffles me the most is the tweet from Cher, where she took aim at Shermila Rajapakse. Cher, a global icon, a superstar with millions and billions of people worldwide, following her around the world, a woman who's rich AF slams another woman trying her level best to do her job. Cher is attacking without knowing the context, without knowing anything, not even understanding what's really happening, putting another woman down. Ma'am, that's shameful. And I also have a message for organizations like Rare Sri Lanka. First, get your NGO registered in Sri Lanka so it'll be a legal one. The ministry told us that you all have informed them that their lawyers are working on it. Good. But when you are strategizing after legalizing your NGO, first understand that you are part of Sri Lanka. You're not some alien being sitting on a cloud. You are part of this nation. You are its sons and daughters. Fake accusations tarnishing the image of the country and spreading bullshit and lies to get clout. Grow up. organizations and people like you are the problem and why this country is not growing. You're not part of the solution. You are part of the problem. There's always a better way to help those animals that you claim to love so much. And when Cher sang, I'm stronger, strong enough to rise above, this is a woman's world, I didn't know that she was singing about women like Shermila Rajapakse. All right, in a moment I'll be joined by Shermila Rajapakse herself, the Director General of the National Zoological Gardens. But before that, joining me and now is Danidu Thanamasam, who apparently is a Cher fan, I believe, because I distinctively remember Danidu. Full blast in the car, you singing every single word, I think believe. You were quite enjoying that. Apparently, it seems like Sri Lanka is having a field day with Cher on this one. Good to see you once again, Danidu. What exactly is your focus tonight?
Thank you, Mahieash, for the introduction. So given that we really focused on something that would fall again between the cracks of all of this discussion, the zoological gardens, its existence and whether it's relevant in today's day and age, and that is exactly where the real focus is going to look into within today's program. Now, amongst the disruptions caused by trade unions within the zoological gardens, a critical underlying discussion has also come into the public forum. Are zoos relevant in today's day and age?
Sri Lanka has 4 major zoological gardens that fall under the purview of the Department of National Zoological Gardens: the Dehiwala Zoo, the Pinnable Elephant Orphanage, the Pinnable Zoo and the Ridhiyagama Safari Park. The general objectives of the zoological gardens have been towards animal conservation, education and recreational activities. In answering the question of whether zoos are relevant in today's day and age, it is important to bear in mind that a number of species of animal rely on the protections provided at these sanctuaries. The Department of Zoological Gardens reports that annually over 1.5 million local and foreign tourists visit the zoo to witness these animals only found within our country. The situation was especially detrimental in Sri Lanka, where a number of foreign and local species who are nearing extinction in the wild are present within these zoological gardens, like the Sri Lankan leopard and the Asian elephant. Internationally, a good example of how vital conservation outside the wild is important was observed in the reintroduction of the Arabian Oryx. This species was extinct in the wild in the 1970s, at which point a conservation strategy was put in play, which began from the Phoenix Zoo in the United States. There are now over 1,000 wild oryx in the environment and close to 7,000 in enclosures. This was also the very first time a species that was classified as extinct in the wild by the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red Book moved to the vulnerable classification. The Sri Lankan leopard is an example of a species that has run into the risk of becoming extinct. In the midst of this discussion, Sri Lanka, understanding the importance of the protection of animal rights, made a landmark decision to gazette the Animal Welfare Bill and present it to Parliament.
The quick dismissal of the zoological gardens purely for narrow-minded gains is wrong and damaging to the country in the long run. This is due to the most significant role it plays in protecting animals endemic to Sri Lanka. Mahieash, I believe the rare animals in this country is something that we should pay attention to within this discussion.
Wow. Why? All right, Danidu Thanamasam, as always, thank you very much. Let's look at the real story with Danidu Thanamasam there. We will take a short commercial break. When we return, the Director General of the Zoological Gardens will be here. This is Get Real. Back in a moment. Welcome back everyone to Get Real. Time now to get some context into the conversation we are having tonight with regard to our zoological gardens. our treatment of animals? Are we abusing animals? There's this lot of conversation which is going all around the world. Cher has got involved, all this nonsense is occurring. But then there is a side which you do not know, and that is calculatedly being hidden by the liberal media, liberal supporting organizations, especially these NGOs who we spoke about earlier. Their objective is not to care about animals or give two hoots about animals. Their objective is to collect money. So how can you collect money? Let's get the biggest hype you possibly could. And if by any chance, if you do your research and go into these organizations and have a look at it, what have they done? Where have they worked? They will always say, oh, we have the intention of doing that. We have to do this, we have to do that. But no, nothing. Your money is just wasted. Joining me is the person of the hour. You're quite known around, Shermila Rajapakse, the Director General of the Zoological Gardens here in Sri Lanka. Good to see you, Shermila. Thank you very much for joining me once again in this program. So
good
do
to see
tell
you
me.
Too.
I
Thank
understand
you so
that right now you've taken a backward position as the Director General of the Zoological Department. You said that you want to initiate an investigation into a certain element that is occurring within the department, within the organization. What exactly is that, and why did you have to step back? Why can't you do it while you are the Director General? And I also want to know, have you resigned?
Not actually, Mahieash. What I've done is I've stepped away from my duties for 14 days, allowing the relevant authorities to take action against people who actually did like so much damage to the goodwill of the organization, and who actually tried to basically kill our animals, starve them, and try to deprive them in order to achieve their personal objectives. So actually within the Act, the Zoo Act, as the Director General of the Zoological Gardens, I have the authority to take action against them. But somehow why I took a step backwards was this actually became a kind of political matter. So if I took action against these people who did these unacceptable things, that would have become a more political matter than taking care of animals. So actually that's why I wanted to give them a chance to correct it, so that it won't become like, it won't divert the attention to something unnecessary, or it won't turn it around to a political matter, because whereas this is about the animal welfare, this is about taking care of our animals.
Absolutely true. Now, I want to get your response, because one thing that I've been saying earlier on is we don't know what your side of the story is, because everybody is very good in terms of giving the other side, the accusers. They don't even go and vet them, because I vetted them and I found a lot of BS. None of them do that. They create this picture, especially the liberal, the Colomboites. I don't know. I still don't know the correct term for that. But all these people who claims to be very intelligent, very respectable, all that nonsense, they try to portray you as a villain. Now you are, if it is a, what do you call, a superhero movie, you're the villain now. Now this pretty much trying to kill our animals, you're abusing them, telling all this nonsense in there. What exactly is going on, Shermila? Because what I really need to know is, let's get like one by one. The first thing that they accuse you is saying you have no talent to be a zoological gardens director general per se. Not understanding the fact that that is not exactly, you need to have a PhD in zoology or anything of that sort. You need to have the knowledge in business management, because I think the president gave you a task. President said, I need this to be done. So why do you think, what makes you capable to sit in that chair?
Yeah, so that's a very good question, Mahieash. Actually, I saw that was circulating on social media. I didn't want to actually respond to them personally, because all these people are Colombo liberals. They are very much active in social media. I have a LinkedIn profile. So if they want to check my background, they can definitely check my background. So the other, as you said, the misconception is that they think for you to become the Director General of the Zoological Gardens, you have to have a zoology degree or a PhD, which is not the case, because this task is actually like a CEO of the organization. Because if you check the organizational chart, the operations of the Zoological Gardens is managed by the scientific service. That means all of them, most of my directors who are there, they have a zoology degree or they are competent in that area. Then I have the veterinary section, animal health. So there I have a set of vets, right? So I have people who are rightly capable in order to look after the animals, their well-being, and manage the place. So my job is to enable them, provide them support in order to run this place and turn it around. So the objective is, this is like a center of the tourism industry in Sri Lanka.
Exactly. And one of the things that we are, because the zoological gardens, like if you take the Pinnable sanctuary, the Dehiwala Zoo, and then I think in Ridhigama, which is around in Hambantara. Now these three are, we are trying to promote them as safe havens for animals, so that we can obviously get a lot of tourists and people, even the local tourists, to frequent this place. People try to turn this around, that we are parading animals and trying to profit off from them, but what really happens is you are taking care of the animals, and in order to take care of them you need money. So this is something that zoos all around the world has done since, I think, the British people came here and opened the zoo, I think in 1930s or something. They have been putting tickets in order to get some money. So they can find them money enough to help the animals, because the animals don't go to do a job. They are not going to work from 9 to 5. They stay there, and that is the basic of it. Now the other accusation is you're abusing animals, because you have taken action, it seems, to certain actions which you have done as a new thing, which is new. You've taken certain steps which others have not done, and they have pretty much gone with the flow, but you've gone against the tide and you've taken that. So there's a big blowback. People are trying to say you're abusing animals, you're abusing elephants. What exactly is the story? I want to get into the Cher story, but before that, what exactly, let's get an understanding, what is your response to that?
Yes. So here again, what I see is two sides, as you say. So the community who are the traditional, like the Sri Lankan Sinhala speaking community, they really appreciate this, and who are with a moderate mindset, they are appreciating it. So the so-called the Colombians or the liberals, and actually there is something called Elephant Mafia. Most of them doesn't know about it. So Elephant Mafia is very big in the world, and in Sri Lanka they're very active through certain organizations. So they have actually abused the name of Pinnable, so that they have even stopped foreigners from coming to Sri Lanka. So as you said, before we move on to that, so the very first principle that they've forgotten is, zoological gardens, our very first task is we are exhibiting animals, right? And we are earning money so that in return we can take care of animals, right? So we are protecting them, we are feeding them, and we are preserving them, and we even like help them grow in their population if there are any animals that are endangered animals. So we internally we inbreed them, and then sometimes we go and even release them to natural environment. We do research and development and everything. So
is that happening here?
It is happening big time. So the only thing actually now this place, as I said, this is a center of a tourist attraction. So far, now when I stepped into the organization, there was no marketing team. There was no one who was managing PR. The goodwill of the organization has been tarnished and damaged and challenged, and everything has been done. This is a national asset. We have spent about 150 billion rupees.
Before that, tell me, for an annual financial year, what's the budget? If let's take Pinnable, what kind of a budget are you looking at in order to just to maintain the animals and give them the basic care that they deserve and need?
Yeah, so very good question. So our total recurrent expenditure for a year is about 600 million rupees. Recurrent expenditure.
So you need 600 million to operate the Pinnable orphanage.
Not only Pinnable, so
all three.
All four actually. So we need that much, and out of which only for animal feed we need about 460 million a year. Right.
So that includes all the animals.
All the animals.
And who's giving you that 460 million?
So we have to earn that money.
The government is not giving that?
So at the moment, government is giving because, due to COVID, we had to close all our venues and income was zero. So actually, even at the moment, the government, the treasury is giving us money in order to fulfill our even recurrent expenditure. So that is why I was trying to promote this place because we wanted to become self-sustainable, because this is a huge dependability, because at the moment even the treasury is struggling to provide all the money. So that's why I promoted it, and within 2.5 months we recorded highest incomes. So if you saw the news, Ridiyagama Safari Park, ever since they started in 2015, recorded the highest income during the long weekend in January. So we were reaching.
How much was it?
Actually, altogether, as I remember, all locations we had more than 10 million. Altogether, it was about 15 million.
So wait. You're telling 10 million is a record-making number, whereas your expenditure is somewhere closer to 400 million a year, and even if we put 10 million a month, you're only getting 120 million in a year. So this is a loss-making organization. So
no, there's something to be corrected. So this 10 million was only for 3 days.
Oh, for 3 days?
3 days,
okay.
right?
So that's actually
why,
good.
Yeah, because I created so much awareness. I showed people, okay, these are the baby animals that we have in each location. So I gave them an opportunity, okay, you come and name an animal. So I showcased them.
Which is happening all around the world.
Exactly.
Which is happening all around the world.
Which hasn't happened in Sri Lanka, and I did it for the first time, so that this resistance is coming. Because actually, somebody once told me, when you said Shermila Rajapakse, the Director General of Zoological Gardens, I expected a lady, big-made lady with a Candian sari. So actually I met that person with my t-shirt, the Zoological Gardens t-shirt, and a pair of jeans and a pair of sneakers. So they couldn't digest. So this would be a Director General of a government organization. So I think that is where these even Colombo liberals cannot digest that fact. Someone different has come and someone is trying to do the job in a different way.
That is absolutely true, Shermila, because one thing is, when you try to do something good, you will always get the objections. It's 100% guaranteed. And if you're getting the objection, that means you're doing something right.
Exactly.
So all props to you on that, and kudos on the fact that you are actually trying to make a change there, because I can't even remember the time that I went to the zoo last time. I think when I was small or something, because the school actually forced us to go, and never have because it has never been a place where it has just connected to me saying, oh, why don't we go and have a good time there? But we've seen you now, you're doing Facebook lives, you're putting a lot of information online, getting people to be excited about our animals, and the only thing that we see from the other side is keep coming back to that liberal side of things, is that they are trying to agitate things and create a nonsense that does not exist. I want to get your take about the whole Cher debacle and what exactly they said and what exactly happened, your side of the story. But before that, let's take a short commercial break. I'm in conversation with Shermila Rajapakse. She is the Director General of the Zoological Gardens in Sri Lanka. We'll be right back. This is Get Real. Welcome back everyone to Get Real. I'm in conversation with Shermila Rajapakse, the Director General of the National Zoological Gardens. Shermila, Cher, do you listen to her? Are you a fan or are you not a fan nowadays? Because, I mean, I explained earlier on in the program what exactly happened and what we went through. We saw both the videos and we clearly showed to the viewers, you know, the BS that we saw. You went on a Facebook Live and you wanted to show the first time these twins, which has not happened for quite some time, twin birds in Sri Lanka. But Cher, not knowing heads or tails, with all her global power, with all what she has, came to attack you. And more or less, it was not an attack about, let's say, you know, the country, the organization, or anything of that sort. She personally attacked you. She named you, saying Shermila Rajapakse, and that tweet we showed earlier on. What is your response? A global star, a global icon, who knows nothing about you, who knows nothing about this country, who has no clue what's the only thing that she knows about this country. I'm pretty sure it's about that documentary she did in Pakistan. That elephant was given from Sri Lanka, carven to Pakistan, and that elephant, she got it from Pakistan and transported into Thailand, and then she became an elephant whisperer. You know, what is your response to that? What do you feel, and how did you manage all this?
Actually, the very first thing, I was very thankful that she made me an international star overnight, right? So somewhere I did the right thing. Someone wanted to make me an international star. And at the same time, if you have seen my speech on the day we named the 3 baby elephants, I actually felt so empathetic about her, and because she's an international star, she's a celebrity, she can sing, right? She has raised a voice about an elephant somewhere, doesn't make her an expert in taking care of elephants or what is going on, or like merely looking at few seconds of a video. I have all her tweets. So this clearly showcased she doesn't even know, as you said, head or tail of what is happening here. So in my speech I said, I'm so empathetic that someone misled you and you took on a ride on that. But at the same time, on behalf of Sri Lanka, I said, I'm forgiving you. And at the same time, that's why I wanted to give her a chance to correct this, her misleading statements. So I said, if you're really interested, genuinely interested, you come to Sri Lanka, see it for yourself and help us, because we have real problems here. There is a real human-elephant conflict where hundreds of humans as well as hundreds of elephants are dying, right? Shall I read a couple of lines?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Because she says, I'm a bureaucrat, okay, so she is only interested in making dollars for the zoo, which will exploit them, okay. She's saying, I'm trying to separate the mama, nanny, and
exactly. What exactly? What's the response to that?
Yeah, so that is why. So Pinnable is not a captive elephant center, because these people, can I mention their name?
Please.
Who tweeted this? They're called Rare Sri Lanka, right?
We've spoken about them earlier on.
Exactly. So these people, they're actually part of Elephant Mafia. So as I've learned, they're not even registered in Sri Lanka, but they're collecting money on personal account. Hi, Colombo liberals, you have to first talk about that, and you have to first start investigating about that. Then we will move on to whatever the questions they're raising.
Because you're a government servant. You're not doing this. This is not your personal property. This is our Sri Lanka's national asset. So the Pinnable orphanage also the Pinnable sanctuary.
Exactly. So Sri Lanka has been a pioneer. We have established this in 1974. This is like in the whole world, as I've learned, the very first its kind of elephant sanctuary. So we have started by taking care of animals, elephants who have been damaged, who have met with accidents, who have been orphaned,
True. What I need to remind our viewers is that Sri Lanka underwent a 30-year-old conflict. And during this conflict, if by any chance y'all don't realize or y'all don't understand, animals were a victim. Okay, the animals from the north, animals from the east, they were not taken care of. None of these organizations, I think they would have existed, but they didn't give two hoots about them at that particular time. So Elephant Sanctuary or the Pinnable Sanctuary was pretty much like, if by any chance, if you actually take the time to go there and visit, there are, I think there's an elephant without the leg, limping, now that is a landmine faced elephant. And then there's a massive issue with regard to what you said, human and elephant conflict, because elephants don't understand that humans have encroached into their areas, and we don't have a huge landmass like Australia or America or Canada where we can pretty much ask, oh, okay, elephants, you stay there and we will stay in our area. Yeah. Our landmass is so small and we are growing, so development is occurring at a very rapid pace, and we are encroaching into these animals' territories. And organizations like Rare Sri Lanka does not address that issue. No. So what exactly is if you can tell us, what is the Pinnable Zoo's role today?
So Pinnable Elephant Orphanage, so actually since 1974 up to now, so what we are doing is we are taking care of animals that have been abandoned or who have met with accidents or who have been left out somewhere, right? We are taking care of them, right? And at the same time we are breeding elephants, right? So that is how we have this twin baby elephants, and we have other baby elephants, right?
Are we the only breeder in the world?
No. We're not. So as zoological gardens, one of our key tasks is breeding elephants, right? So that is
what's the reason for that? What's the need to breed elephants? Are they an endangered species?
So even in Sri Lanka, if you look at the numbers, one thing, like according to the average numbers, what we have calculated, for a day, an elephant is dying, right? I don't know how accurate that is, but I saw some statistics, right? And at the same time, see, these animals are living. We are trying to create a very natural environment inside Pinnable Elephant. Actually, I don't like to use the word orphanage. This is like an elephant sanctuary, right? So if you're trying to create a natural environment, breeding with each other, your mating with each other is also one of their rights.
Oh, so this is not artificial breeding?
No, this is not
natural
breeding, right?
Okay,
so they have to mate with each other because we want to give them a very natural life, a very natural environment.
Oh, so you are really creating their natural environment.
Right? Okay. So it is their right.
Are you forcing the elephants to have sex?
We are not.
Is that because they make it sound as if you all are forcing them to have sex and get on with each other, because that's how these organizations make you sound like.
So it's ridiculous. This Rare Sri Lanka has said breeding inside is kind of like rape. So I don't know. We are giving the right of this animal. This is animal welfare. You're living inside, but when there is mating period, mating time for you, you can mate with each other. We will look after your baby elephants. So that is our job.
That's how we got the twin elephants?
Exactly. That's how we got the twin elephants. And twin elephants, as we have spoken so much about it, so what is so nice about it, or what is so wonderful about it is, if twin baby elephants are born in a very natural environment, usually like 99% of the time the youngest elephant cub would die, because that would be the weakest one. So here we struggle so much, our staff like 24/7, even now we have 24/7 somebody watching them. So the youngest cub was very weak, so we had to take care of him.
But in the video it didn't look like he was weak. He was having a good time in the river.
Yeah, because we made sure that he's strong enough to go to the river for the first time. So that's why we took them to the river for the first time. And what Cher doesn't know, and what this Rare doesn't know, every elephant needs about 4 hours in the water, dip in the water, because that is what moisturizes
Yes.
their skin, right?
If not, they do it with mud. And there is no mud in Pinnable. Yes.
Exactly. So actually we created initially a small pond inside their pen so that they would get some experience with the water. So this was the very first time they went to the river, right? So that was a fascinating experience. And that is, as the Zoological Gardens, our job, our role is to showcase the world how fascinating and wonderful this experience is.
True. And the other thing, Cher, not Cher.
I'm also sure. If you saw my campaign, so I'm SHER Cher.
Shermila,
Yes,
not Cher.
I started a campaign. Cher invites Cher to Sri Lanka.
That's actually a good one. No, one of the other accusations is that these elephants are chained. They're trying to equate the elephants at the Pinnable sanctuary to elephants like that was suffering in zoos like in Pakistan, where it was abandoned, not taken care of, and it was pretty much, dumped. That carved the elephant. So what is the reason that you all have to chain the elephants, and do you all chain them? And I mean, I would understand they would have done it earlier on, but right now with all the information you all have, with all the relationship you all have with these animals, is there a need for that, or what exactly is your thought process, your organization's thought process about that? Because people don't like to see anybody in chains. We don't want to be in chains. Even with dogs, we don't want to put them in chains. We want them to roam around naturally. That is one of the things that these guys are harping on. So explain to us what's the need for that.
Yeah. So before I answer that, let me tell you. So if you saw this video, we had 4 elephants. None of them were chained, right? Even our mahouts did not even use the bull hook, right? The bull hook was there only to use if it was necessary, right? So see, you can be an animal activist, right? You're interested in animal welfare. That does not mean your sole job is to criticize everything. You just go to the Facebook profiles of these people. They have never ever appreciated a single thing, single effort by anyone, not alone a government organization. So they are trying to continuously bully. They're trying to bully me, or they're trying to bully, actually they're trying to bully or harass the position that I'm holding. So they have actually done it. But with me, I don't think, I won't give that chance. I'm fighting back. So that is why there is resistance. And this should happen at some point, because these guys have been attacking the Zoological Gardens and all the other environmental ministers, the ministers, state ministers, the cabinet ministers, the president. See, even here, they are attacking the president also. So this has been a practice. And this
they're supporting, I need to say this, and they are actively supporting Sajid Premadasa, the opposition leader, even though I don't think you are in a capacity to say that, but if you go and see, they are supporting everything that Sajid Premadasa does. So you can see the politics of it. And this is what we are trying to say. These guys, if they were honest about it, if they had really cared about, let's say, I want to get a response to that chain thing, but before that, if by any chance let's say that they were concerned how these elephants are treated, why not sit down and have a conversation with you? Why not give some ideas to you? Hey, why can't we do that? Did they do that with you?
Actually, this the lady who's in charge, Panchali, reached out to me. So one thing, when she came and sat with me, I said, like, before anyone comes for a meeting with me, I do a background check, because I want to know what are their intentions. So I saw she has continuously attacked the officials and the Zoological Gardens and everything. So the very first thing I said, if you are ever going to challenge the very existence of the organization I'm heading, I have no interest in working with you, right? That's very natural. You can't be a stakeholder and working with me if you're going to challenge the very existence of me. The second thing is, she wanted me to become, like, she wanted to expose our elephants in one of her dollar-making projects, right? She gave me a CV of somebody, said he's an expert in elephant, giving pedicures to elephants. but when I looked at the CV, he had been just a zookeeper at some other country. Whereas, come on, the Pinnable Elephant Orphanage has been in existence since 1974, and our doctors and our vets, they're giving pedicures, enough care to our elephants, and at the same time, if at all we need expert advice, we have our indigenous Veda Mahathayas, right? Actually, there are certain Veda Mahathayas we are making use of, right? So, shall I answer your chain question?
Yes, please.
Yes. So, see, this is an elephant sanctuary, true, but they're going to the river sometimes in the middle of people. There's a lot of people. As zoological gardens, we have to take care of elephants, and at the same time, we have to take care of our visitors as well, right? And the other thing is, most of the elephants, when they're alone or when they're in the field inside, we keep them without chains, right? So as long as they're alone and in that environment, they're very calm. But when you put them in the herd, because that is when they go to the river, when you put them in herd, there are certain hierarchical matters, right?
That's elephant politics.
Elephant politics. So one bull is trying to show, okay, I am hierarchically on top of you, or I'm stronger than you, something like that. This is animal world. This is animal world. So in such a situation, if they start attacking each other, or if they start getting aggressive, right? Say if a bull elephant all of a sudden gets aggressive, there has to be, like, in order to control him, we have to put the chain around his neck. When he's aggressive, if we try to put the chain around his neck, it will be damaging the elephant. So that means
you would have, before anything happens, you all have identified this elephant is a little bit dodgy with the herd. Your doctors, your physicians, they know that, your scientists know exactly, okay, we need to keep an eye on this guy. This guy is a little bit dodgy. Is that what it is?
It is exactly that. That's what it is. So there are certain bull elephants, when you put them in the herd, they might become aggressive because of this hierarchical issue. So that is why before you become an activist, you have to know about elephants, right?
Or at least watch Animal Planet.
Exactly.
You would actually get this thing. Shermila Rajapakse, the Director General of the Zoological Gardens, I'm in a conversation with her, trying to iron out certain accusations that has leveled at the organization as well. The reason I'm doing this, I've been saying this, is y'all have not heard this side of the story, because a lot of liberal media has continuously slandered mud about this country. And earlier on, like I said, I respect Cher, and I have done all, she has been a very personal inspiration to me with her songs, but then the person who attacked this country is not the person that I'm a fan of. So let's take a short commercial break. A lot more to discuss about what exactly is the future of this organization, what are Shermila's plan going forward. 2022 is coming, tourism is picking up, we are seeing good trends happening for Sri Lanka. So how can this particular organization be a positive part of the story of Sri Lanka per se? Because if by any chance, if we can get out of this economic crisis, and if all of us work together and make sure that we are at a place where we can take care of ourselves, even individuals like from rare Sri Lanka, they will also profit from that. Let's take a short commercial break. This is Get Real. Rajapakse, the Director General of the National Zoological Gardens, is here. Shermila, I'm sure at least you would have some kind of relief, right? Not everybody is stupid enough to follow rare Sri Lanka and fall for their crap. You responded enough for this BS enough. Now I want to talk about the future of this organization. We have, you said 4 parks.
Yes.
We have the Pinnable Sanctuary, we have the Dehiwala Zoo, we have Ridhigama, and what is the other?
There is a zoo at Pinnable also.
Okay, so the
endemic animals of Sri Lanka.
So all these 4 parks and sanctuaries, zoos comes under your purview, and you're responsible to make sure we turn it around. and actually make these kinds of institutions, these kinds of parks, these kinds of zoos relevant for the current community that is there in Sri Lanka. We can't, because we're talking a lot about animal rights, we're talking a lot about, you know, the welfare of animals and all those things. So we have to pretty much change our concept as well. So what exactly are you planning for, let's say, 2022, with all the tourists that are coming in? We see there's a boom, and there's a lot of people who have made the Dehiwala Zoo, the Ridhigama National Park, Pinnable is definitely a place where all these tourists go and have a look. What exactly is the plan for this organization?
Yes, actually there's a pretty much a very clear path for the organization. So first thing, our main objective is we want to contribute to the national economy of Sri Lanka, because over 80 years we have spent enough money. These are national assets. So now we have to see how we can get them contributed towards the economy. So the very first thing, I'm trying to create awareness and promote these places and get people to come, visitors, not to just come once and leave the place. I want to make this an experiential, yes, a destination where you would come frequently, right? You will have things to engage. You will see, like each time there's an animal baby, you would want to come to this place, right? So I want to take it to the next level. So not only animals, so I'm planning camping sites at each location. I'm planning wedding and functional venues at each location. And at the same time, now as we see on social media, there is a segment of new, like they're trying to become influencers or animal activists on social media, but actually, as we have seen, what they just do is they just talk about things on social media. So what I want to do is get them engaged actually, and at the same time educate them. Now we clearly see these people don't know why an animal keeper, a mahout, would pull the ear of an elephant, why there would be a chain around the neck of an elephant in a sanctuary, right? So they don't know simple things. So I'm planning a series of educational programs where they can actually come to our location and learn from the experts in the industry, right?
What about the welfare of the animals? What exactly can these animals, I mean, it's good that the humans are being knowledgeable about this and they are these things, but we also need to pretty much understand, but let's take about those two twins when they are growing up, what kind of an environment are they going to have in the zoo? Are they going to go into the wild? Because I understand if you are born and bred in a zoo, it is very difficult for you to go into the wild and pretty much adapt to it. And Sri Lanka doesn't have that much of spaces in order for them to freely roam. So that kind of issue is also there. So what kind of steps are you taking towards the animals?
That's a very good question. So actually our first priority is the welfare of the animals, because they're our first, they're our largest asset and we have to look after them. So actually many people don't know, at Ridhigama we have 500 acres. Out of 500 acres we have allocated 85 acres alone for elephants, right? So now we are planning.
Where exactly?
This is at Ridhigama.
Ridhigama, so yes. down south.
Down south, right? So at the moment, in 55 acres, there are only 12 elephants, right? Including the African elephant Joa we have. So now what we are planning is all the elephants we want to retire from Pinnable, right, who are sick and so some are sick and some have been sick for a long time, so we want to leave them in the natural environment. And even these babies, when they grow up, we would put there, because they have 85 acres for themselves. They can roam around and can have a very natural environment, because we are unable to send them to the wild, as you say, because when they are used to humans, it's risky to release them to the jungle, because the other elephants, wild elephants, would attack them. And at the same time, I have planned another, we have purchased another land, 17-acre land in Pinnable. We want to create bull elephant facilities. So actually mainly, as I said, the chain problem we have with the bull elephants, especially when they go to their must period, right? So when they want to mate, they go to must, then they become very wild. So you cannot have a bull without a chain during their must. Yeah. So what we are planning to do is, we are planning a must elephant facility, separate one, where we can leave them alone without chains. So for that we need about 250 million rupees. So I would urge all the animal activists, if you're willing to, because the government at the moment doesn't have money. So please help us raise this money. And
why don't you tell Cher?
Oh yes, actually I invited Cher to come to Sri Lanka and help me raise this 250 million rupees. Plus we need 1,500 million rupees to build an electric fence to address the human-elephant conflict in Sri Lanka. So actually I'm giving Cher to show that she is a real passionate, like by her word, a real animal activist, an elephant lover. So help me take this campaign forward. Invite Cher to Sri Lanka.
Exactly, but that is the thing, that there are other animals in the zoo as well, in the sanctuary and in the wild. What exactly is the plan for them? Quickly, we're running out of time. What exactly are you all hoping to do that for them, especially in the zoo and all? Because apparently there were accusations saying that they died and a lot of things happened. So what exactly is the plan there?
So as a VASA registered, VASA member zoo in Sri Lanka, so our annual death rate is only 1.17, whereas VASA has said a zoo can have average acceptable level of deaths is 5%. So we are maintaining a very good rate in Sri Lanka. We have a very capable team in Sri Lanka. So the rest of the animals, actually what we're doing is at Dehiwala. Dehiwala is the main area we have this problem. We had this problem, have had. So that's why I invite people, you really come and see for yourself. So we are now making their enclosures bigger. And whoever the animals, like we don't let them being like packed in a small cage or in a small enclosure, because we have Pinnable. So whenever we have extra number of animals, if we feel that they're not comfortable, if they're packed or whatever, then we move them to Ridiyagama. So that is happening continuously, and we are continuously working to create a natural environment, enrichments, animal enrichments and bigger enclosures. So if you come and visit the Pinnable Zoo, the enclosure of each and every animal is couple of acres, and Pinnable also it's like more than 10-15 acres.
True, Shermila Rajapakse, and the whole staff at the Zoological Gardens, people would accuse, they would say stories about this and that without knowing heads or tails, just like, Cher, but apparently there's a lot of work you guys do and does not get appreciated for it at all. I understand there is internal issues in terms of trade unions and all those things. I'm not going to waste your time on that, because that is something that I even earlier on, even yesterday, what I spoke was the fact that trade unions needs to be part of the growth, not part of the problem, and that is very clear there as well. Shermila Rajapakse, thank you very much, and please, I really don't want you to resign. Okay. And that is not a news that I want to actually report, and don't put me in that position where I have to say, well, she resigned. And they say, Shermila Rajapakse, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and being here. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much for having me, and I really appreciate your courage to become a real investigative journalist rather than going with the trend.
We have to know, because apparently we can't let one side just dictate the narrative always. We have to give the other side of the story as well, and that's something that we try to do here at Get Real as well. Once again, thank you very much, Shermila Rajapakse, the Director General of the Zoological Gardens here in Zoological Department here in Sri Lanka. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure always before that, you make sure that you go into all these area, the Pinnable Zoo, the Pinnable Sanctuary. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure that we stay positive and test negative. I'll see you next time.